My speech is on PTSD, which is also known as post-traumatic stress disorder. There's a lot of events that can cause PTSD. Some of the events are military combat, natural disaster, terrorist incidents, physical or sexual assault, serious accidents. Those are just a few things that can cause PTSD. All these events can cause PTSD because they cause people to become afraid. And in a situation when you're afraid, you develop a lot of fear. And in these situations, it's considered a fight or flight situation where you use the fear that you have to get you through a situation. And it's very important to be fearful in these situations for a lot of people because it's what gets you through it. The difference in between being fearful after an event and having PTSD is that when you're fearful after an event, it usually gradually decreases over time. It doesn't mean like a week later you won't still be afraid of what happened if it's traumatic enough. You still might be afraid, but it's not as afraid as you were the day after. It should decrease over time. If you have PTSD, it doesn't decrease at a normal or healthy rate. You're still scared of things like years after, and you just can't quite get certain images out of your mind or stop thinking about things. There's 3 main symptoms of PTSD. The first symptom is re-experiencing. Re-experiencing can consist of flashbacks, just being really sweaty, or your heart could beat really fast in certain events that make you uncomfortable. You could have bad dreams or frightening thoughts. An example of re-experiencing for a lot of military vets, when they hear a car backfire, they hear it and they think it's gunshots and stuff, and it makes them very nervous about the situation around them, and that's considered a re-experiencing symptom. One of the other 3 symptoms is avoidance symptoms, which is usually them trying to stay away from situations where they may think of the event again. Also, they can become from trying to avoid things, emotionally numb. They can lose interest in a lot of things. They can also have trouble remembering events because they've just tried to forget it so much by avoiding it. This can cause them to isolate themselves. The last symptom of PTSD is hyperarousal, which is basically when you're just really easily startled. You're very fearful of situations. You have difficulty sleeping. You also can have anger outbursts. A lot of the hyperarousal symptoms can lead to a lot of stress, which is why some of the most unhealthy symptoms are in hyperarousal. PTSD can also lead to a lot of bad things such as depression, substance abuse, physical or mental illness can occur from it, and can also cause a lot of problems in your social life, such as job instability, marriage problems, and family problems. I'm going to focus my speech mainly on PTSD that is caused from military combat because when I was younger and growing up, my uncle had pretty severe PTSD for a couple of years, and the biggest issue with him and his PTSD was getting help because a lot of people didn't really understand how it affects them and how to help them. And the mental disorder is very difficult to understand if you don't have prior background on it. Every year my family now hosts a motorcycle rally, and it's for families who have someone suffering from PTSD or someone who has died from PTSD, and they donate the money to families who need help. My family also meets up with the Congressman Lee Zeldin on occasion in order to make improvements on how soldiers are being treated at home and making improvements on programs that they can have. Lee Zeldin is a really big supporter of veterans and has made a lot of positive changes in the past few years. Lee Zeldin has also helped expand the Dwyer program, which is a program that is a peer-to-peer counseling between vets, and it helps them just feel more comfortable, because sometimes talking to someone who has been through it or has gotten past their PTSD is more helpful because it gives you hope, and you can see that there is a way to get through it, and other people have experienced the same thing as you, and it makes them more comfortable than talking to a therapist who may not really quite get what they're saying, because sometimes just being around people who know the situation is more helpful in a lot of cases. Lizone has also helped expand the program because it started in a few counties in New York State, and now it's being expanded further and further. And I believe this is about half of the speech, so thank you.